This is it. The moment is finally here. Today, I can say that I have defeated my backlog. Gamer versus backlog has been a fight that has been spanning across generation after generation. But today, I'm here to show you how to finally defeat and beat your backlog. What's that? What's the stack of games doing here? Oh, that's just my backlog. Why do you ask? But pay that no mind. Let's talk about how we can beat our backlog. What's up, everyone? This is Justin, and welcome to Just Keep Playing. Please join me today as we talk about how to beat our backlog. This video was inspired by FemTrooper, who did a video on how to beat your games. Really cool video that is linked in the description. And it just really got me thinking. During this time of year, the big game releases really start piling up. Within a relatively short time span, we got Astro Bot, Echoes of Wisdom, and Metaphor Refantazio, with even more cool looking games right around the corner. Like we got Mario and Luigi just in a few weeks. You got the new Dragon Age and Ease 10, Romancing Saga, all coming out this month. In November, you got Dragon Quest III, the HD 2D remake, and the list just keeps going and going and going. There's no way to be able to play through all of these games before the year is over. Then we got games that came out earlier this year that we either never got to or we just haven't even finished yet. And don't get me started on that backlog of games that piled up just from last year alone. I know that some can look at all of these games coming up that are currently out or just chilling in their backlog, and you can start to feel overwhelmed by that, by all the choices that are available to us. And I'm right there with you. I'm currently playing through Echoes of Wisdom. Amazing game, by the way. I still want to go back and finish Astro Bot. And then Metaphor just came out, and that's looking amazing. I want to play that. Romancing Saga, I love the demo and it just looks really cool. I'm super excited for Mario and Luigi Brothership and Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake. And then there's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and the 40 plus hours that I already put into it, staring at me to finish it. So there's just a lot on my gaming plate and probably a lot on your gaming plate as well. But with all of that being said, I've defeated my backlog. You can too, and in this video, we're going to talk about how to do that. So first, we should probably define what exactly is a backlog. And according to the website Quora, a backlog in video gaming is a collection of games that a player owns but has not finished or even started playing. It can be a source of stress and guilt for some gamers who feel overwhelmed by the number of games they have to play. It can also be known as a pile of shame. Now, gaming is supposed to be fun. It's a hobby that we're passionate about that can provide us with hours of joy, memories, experiences, and connections. The last thing it should do is be a source of guilt and stress. And we've all got a backlog of games, some spanning back several generations. Shoot, I've got a backlog of games that go back all the way back to the Super Nintendo era. I'd say the NES too, because that's where my gaming journey started. But I was just a little kid back then, and it wasn't until the Super Nintendo era where I became more aware of what was going on in gaming, reading magazines and all of that, and then just started to become more aware of games that I wanted to play. So how do we defeat our backlogs and keep them from being a source of guilt and stress? Well, first up, and maybe even most importantly, it's all in how we look at our backlog, how we define it. When I look at my backlog, I see a library of games ready and waiting to be played whenever I'm ready for them. I know that I'll never be hurting for an option of games to play, and I don't have the mindset of I have to play this or I have to get this game. It's more of a mindset of I'm excited for when I finally get to play whatever game that might be for you. For me, this year it was A Link to the Past, Final Fantasy VI, and Fire Emblem Awakening. 3 games that I hadn't gotten around to playing yet, or just never had the chance to play, or just at the time that they came out, for whatever reason, I just didn't play them. But now I finally had the opportunity, and it's been awesome to experience those games. But how did I know that now was the time to play those games? And how do we make that decision about what game we're gonna play? Well, we gotta go with what speaks to us, what's speaking to you. I've been rewatching Daredevil with my wife, and there's a quote from there that speaks to this perfectly. It says, art should speak to you, should move you. And I think that fits perfectly with video games and just entertainment as a whole. So for me, when it comes to video games, I'm not really the planning type. I'm more of a go with the flow, gut feeling type of guy. Like when I mentioned earlier how I was excited to finally get to play through A Link to the Past this year. That happened because of my excitement for Echoes of Wisdom. I thought it would be cool to experience one of the pillars of top-down Zelda and the Nintendo Essential first before I played Echoes of Wisdom. Now, when I say the planning type, I mean it in the sense of I'm not really writing out a list and planning out, these are the games that I'm going to play this year. I might have a general idea going in my head of the games coming out for the year that I know of that look really cool to me and that I'll want to play. But for me, I like to let that, ooh, this game looks cool, or man, I really want to play Zelda or Fire Emblem or Castlevania right now. I like to let that speak to me when it comes to choosing what games to play. But what about you? Are you more of a planner, or are you like me and like to go with the flow of the year? Where are my non-planners at? Let me know in the comments below. I do think sometimes if we have this big old list, especially for my non-planners out there that we want to get through, it can sort of act as an albatross around our neck, where we start to feel that if I have to get to this or I have to play this, and that's when we might start to feel that guilt or anxiety around our choices. In gaming, it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to bring you excitement and joy and thrills and all of that. It's not supposed to be that guilt or that anxiety for our gaming choices. So now that we've got our minds right with how we think about our backlog and how to go about choosing our games, here's some quick tips that I go by on how to get through those games and beat our backlog. So first up, focus on one game at a time. That allows you to get fully absorbed into the game that you're playing, its world and its characters, and it just helps you to get fully immersed and connect with the game that you're playing, which makes your experience and time with that game more impactful. And when you jump back and forth between all these different games, at least for me, that's when I start to forget what I was doing in one game or how to play a game that I was playing, and that'll keep me playing a game for a much longer time than I need to be playing it, because I have to figure out what I'm doing or relearn the game. And on that note, I don't like to play a whole bunch of long 100+ hour games back to back. I like to break up my long RPGs or massive open world games with a smaller game in between. That helps to keep me from feeling burnt out from playing too many big and overwhelming games in a row. So after a 100-hour plus experience with a massive game like a Xenoblade or something like that, I like to have a palate cleanser with a much shorter game like a platformer or a smaller indie game or something like that. A good tool that I like to use is How Long to Beat, where I can check that out, see how long maybe the next big game that I want to play, how long that is, and then how long maybe this smaller game is, and just use that as a tool to help me with figuring out what games to put in between the other game. And then next up, if you're not feeling it, drop it. I don't feel the need to continue playing through a game if I'm not enjoying it, or if I don't like it, or if it's not really grabbing me. I don't feel that I have to beat a game just because. So if I'm not feeling it, it's done and it's out of the backlog. And then we have to realize that it's okay if we don't get to every game that we wanted to play this year. We don't have to play every game the moment that it comes out. The games will be there waiting for us to get to them whenever we have the time to or whenever we are ready for them. And now this one might not be too popular, but we have to stop playing all of these live service, never-ending games over and over and over. I'm not saying like never play them, but if you want to get through games, if you want to finish games, if you want to beat them, we just can't be constantly just playing these games that never end. You know, I love Fortnite as much as the next person. I love Splatoon. Overwatch is cool. Rocket League is cool. All these games are cool and fun and good games to play. They're even good like in between games after finishing one of those big, massive 100+ hour games. And you can spend some time just kind of cleansing your palate, just playing through those games. But if we spend all of our time playing these games that never end, then we'll never get to the games that are in our backlog, and we will never finish, or we will never beat our backlog. And then finally, we need to make peace with the fact that we'll never be able to play every game that we want to play in our lifetime. I'm sorry. It's impossible. There are just way too many games, and really good games at that exist for that to ever happen. I'm talking about thousands upon thousands of games out there. Shoot, what the Switch itself has nearly 5,000 games on it. So we need to make that peace and come to the understanding that our backlog isn't something to be conquered or finished, but a journey to be enjoyed throughout our lifetime. And that's how we can defeat and beat our backlog. What about you? Do you agree with these tips on my thought process on our backlog? What are some tips that you have? Please share them in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. And for more Nintendo gaming and Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 conversation, please hit that like and subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you later. Have a good one.